Good evening and welcome to ClausenWorld. In today's episode, I'm going to be harvesting the first onions of the season and sowing some seeds because we don't like empty soil here. So join me in the garden. Alright, here is the first bucket. As I mentioned in my video yesterday, these onions began to lean over. And when your onions lean over like that, they're done. They're ready to be pulled out. So I'm going to take out a few onions that I found in a couple of buckets that were leaning over. And I totally forgot about this poor little bok choy because he was all the way in the back of the bucket garden. So I'm going to actually harvest him and have him for dinner. I'm going to take him out, leaving the roots in there. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I know sometimes my hand is in the way. So let me see if I can do it this way. I'm right-handed, but there are times when I can be ambidextrous. So let's see if today's that day. All right. And here's another one that had not started to go to seed. And I'm just taking the roots and soil off because I don't want to take that in the house. I want to leave that. So I'm putting that in a little bucket that's down by my feet. And so now I'm just going to go ahead on and pull these onions. I hope this one isn't leaning over. So this one I'm going to keep in the bucket. I'm going to try not to disturb it. Oh, that was easy. I thought that was going to be pretty difficult. I have a little bucket down by my feet, and I'm just going to wipe these off with my hands. I'm not going to do a whole lot to them. And then I'm going to set them out and let them dry. So I'm going to place them in the bucket. And this one is leaning. Let's see. It doesn't have that serious gangster lean, but it does lean. I think these over here are propping it up. So I'm going to take it. Oh. All right. Look at that bulb. Isn't that nice? Did you guys see the other one? It's not as big, but this will cook down just as well as this one will. But I'm going to let them dry and let them cure before I do that. So I'm just going to take off the soil because I don't like losing soil and I don't want to take soil out of the garden. I want to leave as much soil as possible in the garden. I'm so excited. Now, I don't remember. I had an experiment that I did. I want to say this was in November, December. It was cold. That's all I remember. It was cold outside. No, this was in October. I went to the grocery store and I found some really tiny onions. I mean, the onions were smaller than this. They were tiny little bitty onions. They were probably about half this size. And I picked up a couple white ones, picked up a couple of yellow ones, and I said to myself, you know what? I might be able to grow that onion as an experiment. And so I think that's what these are. I think these were the onions that I bought out of the store just for a growth experiment. And if that's what these are, I'm excited. Look at that. Can y'all see that? Look at that onion. That's a nice looking onion. I use onion. I know you all have probably seen my multiple onion pots and my numerous onion patches in and around the garden. And you're probably thinking, man, that lady sure does have a lot of onion. Yes, I use a lot of onion in my household. My family and I, we eat a lot of onions. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we're sauteing up an onion for something. So let's see, this one as well. This one is leaning over. So I'm going to take him out, and I'm trying not to disturb this one right here because this one doesn't have that lean in the neck yet. And let me show you, just in case you're not quite sure what that lean in the neck looks like. That's what the lean in the neck looks like. When your onions do that, they are ready to come out. They've done all they can do. look at that onion, y'all. Man, these bulbs range from a tiny bulb to a medium-sized bulb, all in a 5-gallon bucket. And you know what? I don't even think this is, no, this one isn't 5 gallons. This one is a 4.8 gallon, which is 18.2 liters for those who happen to be looking at me from across the pond. This is not a 5 gallon. This is a 4.8 gallon. And I got this bucket from Panda Express. I always forget because I don't regularly eat at Panda Express. I mean, I hardly never eat there. And I happened to see a young man. You all heard the story. If you haven't heard the story, go back to my earlier videos, and I tell you how I acquired these buckets. So this onion goes into my bucket, and I just want to see if there are any more in here. It looks like I have only one more. That maybe two. I think I only have, I might have two. And the reason why I say might is because it's leaning over the lip of the bucket, and it could very well have been the weight of the other onions that pushed it down, but we'll see. Look at that onion. Oh my goodness. This is my second time growing onions successfully. I first started growing onions for the first time in 2012 when I started growing food seriously in my garden right after I lost my grandmother. And that was the very first time I grew onions. And this is the second time that I have grown onions. And I'm excited. Look at that. This is something I do not have to try to go to the grocery store to pick up. Now, for those new subscribers that are new to gardening, welcome to my channel. Welcome everybody to my channel. But for those very new subscribers who sent me a message telling me, hey, I'm new to gardening, I saw your channel off of another YouTuber's channel and I thought I'd check you out. I don't know what I'm doing. Try onions. Try a bucket. Just try it. Gardening, just all you can do is try. It's so rewarding to try growing food. And to me, this right here, this is something I don't have to go purchase in the grocery store. And it's amazing. I mean, the smell, the smell is just outstanding. It's a very strong, pungent onion odor, and it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Let's see. And I'm going to take this last one all the way in the back because he's leaning in a way that could possibly mean it's ready to come out. There we go. It's a tiny one. That's okay. Doesn't matter if it's tiny in this garden, tiny or large, we'll eat it. It'll disappear. Trust me. But this will be my first time actually properly curing my onions. The first time, I don't think I properly cured them. They dried, but I don't think I did it properly. I brought them inside the house, and this time I'm not going to bring them inside the house. I am going to leave them in the shed in the hopes that no insects or anything gets in them to try to eat them, but I'm going to hang them up in the shed. So that is this bucket. Now, I do have plans for this bucket. I am not going to leave this soil just like this with just a couple of onions left in it to pull. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of fertilizer in this bucket, and I am going to pot up these empty spaces here with something else, trying to avoid these 3 onions that are left, because I don't want to disturb what I'm going to put in this bucket. And it looks like I have a grass that decided it wanted to try to live in this bucket, and he gotta go. We can't have him sucking up all of our nutrients and energy. Bye-bye. All right, now I did, like I mentioned, poke around, and I think this might be a baby bok choy, so I'm just gonna leave. It's either bok choy or lettuce. Either way, he wasn't living his best life, so We're gonna prop him up like that, and we're gonna leave him in there. All right, I have another bucket. Let's move this out of the way. Just gonna slide it like that. Like I said, I went through all of my buckets to make sure that I got everything out that needed to come out. And this onion, which seems really deep into the soil, I planted this one a little deeper than I should have, is ready to come out. I don't see any other onions in here that are ready to come out. They are bulbing up nicely. I did loosen around them, like I saw in a previous video by another YouTuber who talked about loosening up the soil so that they could bulb out. So I'm going to take this one because it is laying down, and I'm hoping that it's not so far down in there that I destroy it trying to get it out. Nope, it was in there too deep. I planted him a little bit too deep, but that was my mistake. But here it is. It's again a tiny onion, but that is okay. Any onion, be it small or large, we will take it here. Look at that. All right. I'm going to place him in my bucket. Now I am not going to put anything in the place of that onion in this bucket because I still have a lot more onions to go. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but let's see if I can turn it around and show it to you. I did lose a little bit of soil, but you know, that was real deep in there, and I wasn't expecting it to be as deep as it was. But can you guys see this right here? This right here is a tomato plant that I did not put in this bucket. So I don't know, again, if it was the birds pooped and it got in here, or if it was compost that didn't quite cook down the way it should have and inoculated itself. I don't know, but another tomato. And it looks like this one is sort of healthy. It's really skinny, but it's probably skinny because it's fighting for room in this onion bucket. And I really don't think that tomatoes, well no, yeah, tomatoes, if my memory serves me correctly, you can grow, yes, you can grow tomatoes near onions. But this one looks a little bit stunted, but I'm gonna leave it. So that's all I'm doing with this onion bucket. So let's get back to this guy right here, and then I'm gonna put these back to where they were in the garden. Because like I said, I didn't want to make this a really long video. And you all know I have my handy dandy favorite little bucket over here. I mixed up some fertilizer. I took a handful of vegetable fertilizer, the Dr. Earth's vegetable tomato fertilizer. I took a handful of blood meal, bone meal, and I took a handful of plant tone, because you guys know I use plant tone on almost everything. And then I took 2 scoops. This is my scoop. I took 2 scoops of black cow, and I just put it in the bottom of this bucket, and I'm just kind of beating up the little chunky bits that are in here because the black cow was kind of chunky. It had chunks in it. And I'm just kind of tossing this around. And it looks like, from looking at my soil, this soil had some sand, so I must have put some sand in it. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to place a little bit of fertilizer on the top of this soil and try to work it in with my fingers. So I'm just going to place a little bit, you know, around in here and just kind of work it in like that. Just like that. Just like that. And those roots, I don't know if you saw that. Some of these roots went down pretty deep. So that's interesting. Now I'm going to take just a tiny bit more, just a fingertips amount. I'm going to put it back behind this onion. And I'm going to work it in. And I'm just going down to my second digit, just in case you were wondering how far I'm going down. Because like I said, I know I've gotten a couple of responses from some of my subscribers. Thank you very much. You could be watching anybody out there who's more experienced, who doesn't shake the camera around, but you all choose to watch me, and I thank you very much for your support. And so two digits down, just in case you're extremely new and you're not sure how far to go down. And I'm just kind of just working it around, distributing it around the onions. And if the onions take it up and the onions like it, that's great. They're almost done, so they don't really need it, but that's all right. Now I am going to put in this pot. Let's see what I've got behind me, because I took a few things out that I want to show you guys, but I'm going to show you all this right after I finish planting. So I'm going to try something here that I haven't been all that successful with. I purchased some kohlrabi earlier in the season. Might have been January, might have been December time frame. All I remember is that it was cold outside. And so I'm gonna put some kohlrabi in this bucket because I would love to be able to harvest some kohlrabi. I tasted my very first kohlrabi earlier this year, and I thought it was really good. So I thought, let me see if I can try to grow some kohlrabi. So I have some early white Vienna and some purple Vienna. I hope the light is not so bad. It's really overcast. The sky is just full of clouds. There's no blue at all. There's no sun. It's pretty bad right now. We're supposed to be possibly getting another possible storm, or maybe just some rain coming in. So I'm trying to hurry this up so that I don't get caught in it. But these seeds look a lot like, and I know why, cabbage. I don't know if you guys can see that. They're round like cabbage leaves because this is in the cabbage family. They grow this over in Germany. And so I'm gonna drop a few of these around in this bucket. And I'm gonna try to put them in a place where it won't be disturbed too much when I pull these onions out. Okay, now that was the early white Vienna. I'm going to also plant some of the purple Vienna, but that's not going to be today. In this pot, I'm only going to put the green. I'm going to put one more in here. I think I lost sight of one. I think I lost sight of one. All right. So let me put this back in here. But I will be planting some of this purple Vienna. More than likely, I'll be planting that in the very next pot that I harvest out of. But I just want to focus on this being a green pot. Don't know why, but I just want it to be green. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, I really don't want to do that. I don't want to mush it up. I would normally just mush it up and kind of try to cover those seeds up, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some water and I'm going to water it in, and that's going to push these seeds down because these seeds are really not that large. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of water, water it in, and push those seeds down. And then I'm going to put this back in the area over by the lemon balm. Yeah, that's going to go back over by the lemon balm. And the last thing I want to show you all this evening before I call it an evening is I got something in the mail today, and I wanted to share it with you. Let me get it. Let's see, it's behind me. Let's see. I got some seeds in the mail. And I bought these several weeks back. and I bought some caraway, and they all came from the same seed company. They came from Baker Creek. I like Baker Creek. They're not the only place I buy seeds, but I like them because the customer service is really good. They always give you a free sample of something, and generally it's something that you have never bought before, and I like that. And they have some unusual finds that I've been very happy to come across. So caraway, because I am going to try to make pickles again. I'm going to try to can pickles again this year, and I want to try to grow some caraway seeds. Maybe not this season, but I want to grow some caraway. This was a free packet that I got, this Russian red or ragged jack kale. I've never ever heard of this. Now this is something that I am going to try to grow, but I am going to grow this for my fall winter garden. And the reason why I say that is because, remember, if you've watched any of my previous videos, in one of my videos I talked about when you see a cold region on your packet like Copenhagen, Russian, those seeds grow well in a cooler, colder climate. So I am going to try to grow this kale this fall. So this is going to go in my seed box for later on, and I'll be germinating these seeds probably in the next couple of months to give them an opportunity to get a good growth on them. That way when I put them out in their permanent place for the winter time, which will probably be a bucket, they will be acclimated and ready to go. And I also found this is a fish pepper. A good YouTube tuber that I watch, she introduced many of us to the fish pepper, and I did some reading and research, and I was very interested in the history of this pepper, and I thought this might be good to make some form of fermented hot sauce with. So I want to try to grow this, and I will be sowing these seeds probably in the next video. And from my hometown, I was very, very surprised to find this particular seed. I used to eat pickles like they were going out of style when I was a kid. And to be able to find this pickle from my hometown, my mind was blown. I mean, the back of my head just blown straight off. I'd asked a family member if she could find this pickle for me because Baker Creek were out at the time. And when I went back to look at Baker Creek, it was available. So I don't know if I'll put any more pickles in the garden this year. I'm gonna sleep on it. I might drop this, I might not. Since I lost my gherkin, this might be a good replacement to see if I can get this. This is a pickling cucumber, and since I really like pickles, but you already know that I do have a pickling cucumber that I put in the green pot over there. So I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on it and decide what I'm gonna do about that. But to be able to find a Chicago pickling cucumber, yeah, my mind was blown. And so that is a tiny haul that I got in the mail today. Now that's all I really have for you all today. The wind is picking up, and again it's supposed to rain, so I'm going to put all of my onions away, do a little cleanup, and set my onions that I harvested out so that they could dry. So I will see you guys in my next video. I hope you enjoyed content today, and I hope you return. So until then, have a nice evening.